It's a brand new day, everybody. It's actually pretty nice today. It's a little bit blustery, so I heard, but the clouds are not fully contaminating our skies, and I'm still a little under the weather. When I get little bugs that linger, they linger forever. You know, like each day I get like 5% better. It seems to take like a month to get past it. But the fact of the matter is, 2 days ago, I did the same thing I'm doing right now. I made a trek to the store because I needed provisions, as I always call them. And it was rough. It was rough getting there. It was rough getting home. By the time I got home, it was like I tried to run a marathon. Tried. And today, just, still a little bit of, it's almost more soreness as opposed to achiness. Is that right? I think my camera was a little smeared. Anyway, I'm on my way to the store, and I'm also hoping at some point that these vlogs get a little bit more entertaining. I mean, if you're entertained by what I've posted so far, thank you. I really don't think I'm that funny when I'm just walking around explaining my day, but this channel's still very new, and so I'm trying to get people associated with what's going on in my existence. And now I'm starting to do this process of doing whatever vlog stuff I do on one day and then posting it the following morning. That being said, I still haven't posted the vlog for last night because I just had an issue. It wasn't publishing the video right, and I was like, well, I'm going to bed. So I'm gonna try again. So instead of publishing it this morning, it's gonna be more early afternoon, but it's gonna be there. Not a lot, just still feeling sick, had to go to work, a little bit of drama here and there, and then went home. And I'm not going to do a whole lot. Not really going to be out of the house besides going to the store. My big objective, so I have today and tomorrow off from work. Tomorrow I really want to find a way to get to bed early, which I can't ever seem to do when I really need to. But I'll try to get to bed early and try to wake up at a reasonable time and go out and have a really serious video making vlogging day for my YouTube channel tomorrow, which I haven't done. We're pushing 2 months now since I've really gone out and just done a day of vlogging for my amateur historian channel. And obviously, if that's going to be a big chunk of my day, I want to bring a little bit of that to you here. I was pondering doing it today, but I figured I was wiped out at work. I got home, still not feeling great. I figured I'm probably not going to feel great today. I really shouldn't force it. And it's a little windy today. It's not terrible, but my hope is tomorrow will be a little bit more reasonable in the wind department. So hopefully that'll happen. If it's too windy or if I'm still feeling too wiped out, because I do work Wednesday, so I work 2 days from now. So if I still feel wiped out tomorrow knowing I have to work the next day, then I'm just going to have to pass on vlogging. And this whole sickness thing is a real bitch because I've got content I want to make, and then there's stuff I need to do. I have a film. Have I really talked about that much on this channel? Because that's like the big thing going on in my life. Apparently I suck at this vlogging thing, and in terms of having it focus on what's going on in my life. I have a feature film that I'm trying to get ready to shoot. I was thinking maybe late April, but now it's looking more like early to mid-May. Well, because things like this keep happening. When I'm sick and wiped out, yeah, I can sit there and write if I need to or want to, but, this is a very important film to me. It's a very important script. I don't want to just be half-assing it, like, well, I gotta write it and I'm sick, so I'm just gonna start writing this. And then the whole thing goes to hell, and I end up writing a bunch of stuff that later on I decide, why did I do this? I'm not gonna use this. So that's my big focus, and it keeps getting pushed back one day here. Oh, here comes the wind. So, yeah. I don't know if you heard any of that, but if you did, yeah, that's my big thing in life right now is this film. Also at the mall because I need to find something to connect a coax cable to. One video to 2 audio hookups. Because because our TV went out in our bedroom, so we had to move one TV in there, and they only have the coax cable for our cable at home, but I can't get my TV onto channel 3 without the remote, and I never got the remote with it. So if I can switch it to the 3, you know, yellow, red, white plug-in, we can actually have TV out in the living room and not just DVD stuff. I gotta look so suspicious when I do this. That's how I move stuff home. Shocks me every time. Here comes the wind. Now I'm on the back side of the mall. Here's the mall. The front is actually the other side. This is just kind of the back parking lot. And see, there's just this row of bushes. Well, that's actually, there's like a kind of little lowland space that's made to like, well, more than anything else, it's made to just attract water so it doesn't flood this area. And yeah, so you see there's a bridge here, and very big gathering space for homeless people, as you can see. And I'm wondering, all this white crap is, I wonder if that's to like clean the area out, because there's been you know, needles all over the place left down here. You know, you can see them. There's obviously a lot of trash, and it just goes all the way down here, runs for pretty much the whole length of the mall. And I'd step down here, but I don't think they want you to. And actually, this might also be to like, because it's cold. But yeah, I don't know what all this white stuff is. I'm gonna refrain from trying to find out. But yeah, it's an example of some of the places that people in this city have had to go to hide, you know, when they're homeless and they can't find, you know, a spot to stay without authorities hassling them and making them relocate and stuff. Wow. Whoever owns this car has a lot to prove. But yeah, it goes through here, and it's real easy to hide in there, and people have been getting pushed out. And so recently, I don't know if I'm blurry or not, but recently they've just, it seems like homeless people in this area have just kind of stopped trying, and they either just perch up over this way where there's kind of a back road here and an island, and people will live there, but they'll also just kind of live over by the Max, kind of just the other side of this, because they get kind of run off out of here. But yeah, if you look down in there, this goes along for a very long ways, and it's just scattered with trash. I'll take a look here. Yeah, one thing you'll see me definitely talk about from time to time is the homelessness issue in this city. Like, I mean, right over here, we've got a RV parked on the main drag. I guarantee you, whoever owns that RV has either abandoned it there because they've had to, or they're living in it. Main Street, the street right here, it opens up a little bit back that way, but yeah, every so often it'll get lined with RVs, very similar to this one right here. And the wind is coming at me, so again, I hope you can hear me. But yeah, that's something I'm going to be talking about a lot, because it's such a big problem in the city, and it's something that I find myself encountering over and over again as I walk about. Anyway, so yeah, that's just one example, because a little ravine area made to gather water way down at the end of Main Street down here. That kind of comes out over here, and there's a little bridge that wraps up and goes over the road, over the Max tracks, over the freeway, and a lot of people have just started setting up their tents there. Kind of trying to set them up behind the ramp that leads up to the bridge over the freeway. Because if you get to the back side, you're a little secluded, not really. And it seems like people have been allowed to stay there longer. There's a few occasions where I've seen like the same tent there for like almost a month. But it's the fact that nothing is being done about the problem. Nothing is really being done seriously about the homeless problem, and the homeless problem is growing because the powers that be in this city are all about turning us into the next San Francisco. So it's getting more and more expensive to live here. People are getting, one by one, families are getting priced out of even their shitty apartments because of the rent crisis around here. And so more and more people are becoming homeless. Nothing is being done about the issue. And so, of course, you have people, especially on the east side, God, again, I hope the wind isn't ruining my audio, but you have homeless people scattered all over the eastern part of Portland, which is where I live in. Northeast and southeast, where and downtown on the west side, but not really a whole lot on the west side besides that in comparison. And they put up no trespassing signs in areas that homeless people tend to congregate, as though they're going to pay any attention to those at all. Do you think these people who are homeless are worried about getting charged with trespassing? Do you honestly think if you give them a court summons, they're actually going to show up? And so the solution is to just herd them around like cattle, to keep from pissing one sect of the population off too much. We let them live in one spot for a week or two. Then we say, oh, you have to leave. So they get pushed over here. And then they come back, authorities come back 2 weeks later, say, oh, you got to move again. And then ultimately, after you get moved around enough, you find yourself going back to the, places you've already been to. I've seen places just packed with tents. And then they all get moved out at once. And then a month later, they're all back. There's no solution to that. You're just cycling people around like it's a game of musical chairs, and it's not helping anything, it's not fixing anything. You're just taking these people who are homeless, they're probably hungry, they're probably, in some cases, malnourished, they've probably got various types of illnesses because they're having to pick through trash and whatnot. A lot of them are drug addicts, a lot of them are alcoholics. A lot of them are not in a good position to better their situation in any aspect. And you're just, making them, you're in essence evicting them every couple of weeks, making these people who are weak from hunger and thirst and exhaustion. Some of these people are, older folks that just don't have the same energy level that they may have had once upon a time. Then they gotta pack up all their shit, throw it on their back, and then, lumber on down to some other place. And I remember seeing, it was on a bus stop shelter, this thing that said you're not alone, we're here to help, and it listed all these different resources for homeless people to go to. And it's like, that's great and all, but most of these homeless people probably don't even know that those exist. All right? Most of these people don't have the internet. They can't look this up. And they have phone numbers on there, like an internet site to go to. I'm like, are you high? These people are homeless. All right? I know every so often it's an oddity that homeless people may have a cell phone, but suffice to say, most of them don't. They can't look up your organization online. The fact of the matter is, if they go and ask people to borrow their cell phones to call someone or look something up, most people are going to say no. I unfortunately have to say no a lot of the times because I don't just have, call me cheap, but I don't just have money laying around to just, oh, guy ran off with my cell phone. Oh, homeless person broke my cell phone. I'll just go in and buy another one. No, skin off me. It's like, no, I'm not in a financial situation right now, especially now that I'm trying to save up a bunch of money for making a movie. I'm trying to save up a bunch of money to go on a vacation this year with my girlfriend. I literally need to count my pennies, so to speak. The fact of the matter is just, all these organizations exist. Well, why the hell, are there so many homeless people wandering around? Like, there's nothing they can do. I know some homeless people have this kind of defeatist attitude. Nobody cares about me, so screw it, whatever, I don't care anymore. But that's not all of them. Just this city has such a massive problem with homelessness, and they barely lift a finger to try to solve the problem. And it's like, oh, well, it's a big problem, it's hard to solve. We can't solve it because it's going to cost too much money. Well, if you don't address the problem properly, the problem gets bigger and thus gets more expensive. Wouldn't you rather have to spend such and such amount of money now instead of having to spend such and such a money 5 years from now when frickin' everybody in this town is homeless? See, I told you, I will be doing homeless rants from time to time because it's such a big deal around here. But it's also something that frustrates me. You know, I used to be one of those dumbasses that was like, oh, people wouldn't be homeless if they would just find a job. Yeah, because that solves every problem. Because there's enough jobs available to help everybody. Everybody can get a job, no problem, that will sustain them, that'll pay their rent, pay for food, pay their bills, pay for medical insurance. Yeah, those are just out there waiting to be picked out of the air. No, sorry, they're not. How do my eyes look? I guess they look okay. Oh my god. Word of warning. When you eat a lot of baby carrots, like I do, for some reason baby carrots mixed with an energy drink is like the ultimate rocket fuel for me to focus and do stuff. But those little slivers of carrots, they get stuck in your throat and you cough and you cough and you cough, but you can't get them out of your system. So, chew them up nice and good and swallow them right. But, I'm actually preparing to do some more amateur story and videos. Doing research info, the screen's just white to you. But I have to say, oh my god. So, I'm gonna flop down for a second so I can better talk to you. Talking with my mouth full, like your parents teach you not to do. So, a lot of the, research that I've done, a lot of these stories that I've been able to do videos about, they're pretty much all the result of some source that I've stumbled onto, but a few sources have been a lot more useful to me than others. There's, I always botch the name, but I think it's called Kick-Ass Oregon History. I think that's what they're called. There's another one that's called, like, it hasn't, oh god, I can't remember it. It's called, like, Oddball Oregon History or something like that. I can't remember. But, there's two people that I've really followed a lot because they focus in specifically on crime around Portland and Oregon, which is one of my main focuses on my channel. I've been a crime crime enthusiast makes it sound like I'm encouraging crime, but historically looking at cases, trying to understand cases, maybe even put my 2 cents into unsolved crimes and things like that, for the sake of having another perspective and trying to make sense of some of them. But in my area, one is Gary C. King, who focuses specifically on kind of true crime murder stories, and he has a big focus in kind of the Portland area. So a lot of his pieces that he's written that I've stumbled onto here and there over time are focused on stories that happened in excuse me, carrots, in Oregon and Washington. He's written about crimes all over the place, but he obviously is from this area, so he has a particular interest. So he's written a lot about cases in Oregon. A lot of the stories I've done, random vlogs on, are based a lot on the pieces that he's written. And my favorite local historian is a guy I've referenced a few times named J.D. Chandler, who he's written several books. He's got several blogs. This is actually one of his books. You just can't see it because my iPhone can't point it out, but I'm actually reading some stuff out of his. And what I love about these guys is that they're a great first resource. I don't just read their stuff, take notes, and then go out and make a video, because then I'm just like co-opting what they wrote. But I, take the details and then I start, advancing my research and searching on newspaper sites and finding, pictures and finding more stuff so that I have a fully robust collection of information and imagery and all that stuff. So when I go to make the video, I have pretty much everything I can find on a said case. This is where I'm just like chomping and talking. But so yeah, JD Chandler's probably my favorite local historian. He's probably the most prominent Portland historian around, and I got a chance to meet him and interview him for my film Woman in the River, which is on my Steve the Amateur Historian channel. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's a documentary I did delving into the story of this woman whose body parts were found scattered all over the Willamette River between pretty much Oak Grove, which is where I grew up for the most part, and Oregon City, just south of Portland. I think the woman's head and her torso were found in the river near Oak Grove, and then her like thighs and yeah, I know certain parts of her body have never been found. I want to say her lower legs have never been found. I haven't looked at it in a while, but yeah, and he's actually done a lot on there. He actually has a kind of podcast that he's done called Murder by Experts, and they actually have multiple episodes where they focus in on that case and the woman that they think might have been the victim, because she's never been officially identified. And that's the second half of the documentary, as I talk about this woman named Anna Schrader that people think likely is the victim. And I'll cut myself off there because I don't want to give you the whole entire thing, but it's just me immersing myself into this crime story, and I got to meet and interview JD Chandler for that film, so that was awesome. I've actually gotten to meet the guy. They have like I think it's called Unsolved Portland, where they have a couple episodes where him and another guy who I wanted to interview for my documentary but just never got around to it, and by the early last year I just wanted to get the film done. But there's another local historian named J.B. Fisher who's done a lot of stuff too, and he also has looked into that case, and it's him and JD that are do this Unsolved Portland history, and they have a couple episodes up on these cases about unsolved, crimes that have happened in Portland, which is so right up my alley. I may even end up doing some videos down the line in relation to the same cases they discuss, but I just want to mention that because, there's going to be a lot of stuff in relation to my amateur historian channel that I talk about here, because that's a big part of my life. Doing this, making movies, living life. This may seem boring and stupid and a waste of time to a lot of people, but I genuinely enjoy doing this. I enjoy the process of learning new information about things and these crazy crimes that happen. But I also enjoy making the videos and creating something. I'm always about creating something new that hasn't been made before, obviously true crime videos have been made, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that, but I'm going to make a video that's completely my own creation, and I love that. I've always loved doing that. So to me, this is hardly a waste of time. It's something I genuinely love doing. And, my amateur historian channel is slowly growing bit by bit. And I'm very happy about that and very appreciative. And even though probably pretty much everybody who's subscribed to this channel is probably already a subscriber to me on my amateur historian channel, you just kind of hopped over here because I asked you to. But, if not, if you've just kind of stumbled onto this channel, go subscribe to my amateur historian channel, because I have almost 400 videos up on there. Some of it is stuff more like what I'm putting on this channel, where I'm just talking about random moments in my life, but there's probably pushing 200 videos that are specifically about, history of the area or cool places and that kind of stuff. A little bit of urbex mixed in there, so. Oh my god, I'm choking to death. I need to stop videoing, or I'm gonna stop paying attention to this. I'm paying too much attention to this, and I'm gonna choke. Anyway, back to work.